Welcome to the Pioneer Voice. I'm Danielle Collar. We're at Jefferson State Community College with Aaliyah Boone from the Student Success Center. Thank you, Aaliyah, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So tell us, I know it's in the name, but tell us a little bit, what is the Student Success Center here at Jefferson State?
For sure. So the Student Success Center here at Jefferson State Community College is what we like to call essentially the one-stop shop for holistic student support. The Student Success Center provides wraparound services to our students. And so when I say holistic student support, these are services that provide just support to the whole student. Obviously, our students are here to reach their academic goals, but the Student Success Center meets students not just academically, but also their mental health, well-being, and even their physical needs. So it's a holistic student space where students can get access to support.
Okay. So you said wraparound services. What does that really include?
For sure. So wraparound services include access to mental health counseling. Wraparound services include access to our food pantry, as well as emergency grant assistance for students who may find themselves in some type of economic hardship during their time as a Jeff State student.
Okay. And this is for every student? I mean, how does a student get involved with the Student Success
For
Center?
sure, it is. It is for all Jeff State students, whether or not they're physically on campus or even some of our online learners. And so the physical space is on our main Jefferson campus, but the Student Success Center services are accessible to students on all 4 of our campuses, as well as our online learners.
Okay, great. And if a student needs help from the Student Success Center, and maybe they're kind of hesitant to ask, what would you say to that student?
I always tell students, whether I'm just kind of meeting them in passing, whether or not like a faculty member brings a class into the physical space to kind of tour, I always tell our students that the best students are the students that ask for help.
Absolutely.
I recognize asking for help, particularly around like mental health, is still heavily stigmatized.
Right.
But I tell our students, the best students are the ones that will, say, hey, I'm struggling in this area. Because if we're all really transparent, whether or not we're a student or whether or not we are, just a human being that works every day, we all need support. We all need help and could just kind of benefit from the support. So I would tell the student, the best students are the ones that ask for help. And if you want to be successful at some point in your journey as a student, you're going to need to speak up and say, hey, I need some assistance.
Absolutely, yeah. And so you talked about the food service pantry. Is that what it is?
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit more about that for us?
Absolutely. So through a partnership with the Community Food Bank of Central Alabama, Jeff State is able to provide access to an on-campus food pantry. As I said, it is physically housed on our Jefferson campus, just because that's where we have the space for the storage. But once a month, one of our staff members actually drives out to the food bank. We're able to purchase items at a relatively low cost. And these are items that we see that students will kind of benefit, whether it's just kind of grab and go items or also items that students can take home to prepare meals for their families. But once we retrieve those items, we stock them there and our students can walk in and get any items of their choice. And then we also do a monthly food distribution, and that is for both students and community members. And so that's a really great partnership that we're very fortunate to have. And yeah, our students really, really do benefit from being able to access these services, and all the food is completely free to our students and the community members.
Great. And how do students know about it? Like, how do they know where to come? Do they need to reach out to anybody in particular? Can you?
For sure. So there are a few different ways that students can find us. Obviously, word of mouth. There are many times, when I'm there at Jefferson campus, I may just kind of stroll the campus as I see students. I have handouts that your office has helped us to be able to provide graphics. And so we still just kind of do some foot traffic and just kind of tell students with just different handouts. Obviously, there are graphics that are posted around campus. ever so often there's posts that are made through social media, but also we tell students to check out just our webpage, just through the Jeff State webpage. Our services are listed under the Student Hub, and then from there, once you go to the Student Success Center page, you can actually see an outline of all of the services. So you'll see information about the mental health services, you'll see information about the food pantry, where it's located, as well as emergency grants. So we try to, get the word out as much as possible. And just, it's very helpful sometimes when I can get in front of faculty and staff. I tell them, hey, like put a small blurb about the Student Success Center on your syllabus. That's very helpful. We utilize Canvas, as much as we possibly can. So we're always looking for more ways to get the word out. But, just traditional, just word of mouth is very, very helpful.
Okay. And you've mentioned a lot about mental health. I think it's so important. And we partner with, do we have 2 partners? Is that right?
We actually have 3 partnerships for mental health. We do. As of lately, we've been very fortunate. So the Alabama Community College System, all of the institutions within ACCS just recently started to partner with a company that's called You Will, You Will Mental Health and Wellness. And through You Will, it's a very unique platform where our students, they can access teletherapy. And all of our students have access to 3 sessions, and it's tailored specifically for the student. So they can choose a therapist based off of like race, gender, or just specific issues. And so a lot of students really like that. They can meet with them, before class, after class, or just at a time that's most convenient. And that has been a partnership that's been very, very vital because our students, they're being met exactly where they are. Right. And then, of course, we still have a partnership with Together All, and that's more peer-to-peer counseling. It kind of functions like a social media platform where students can also find different articles or just a wealth of different mental health resources. That's great. Then through a partnership with Employee Assistance Services, our students also have access. So, as students come in, we try to make referrals based off of what meets their need. But it's a great service that Jeff State provides, and we're just hopeful that we can continue to get the word out to students.
That's great. And you said that it's free, right?
All free.
All free.
All free.
And there's 24-hour access,
24-hour access from wherever they are.
That's awesome. Do you have any stories you can share with us, maybe of a student that's, benefited from the Student Success Center?
Absolutely. So when I first started working at Jeff State, I got introduced to the ambassadors. So the ambassadors, of course, are, the student leadership group. They do so many different things around Jeff State, from orientation, just assisting with different events. And so as I was coming into Jeff State, I got a chance to meet one particular ambassador who I believe was entering her 2nd year at Jeff State. And so, of course, students that are going into their 2nd year, they're having conversations about what's next. Am I going to transfer? Or, what does life look like once I finish my 2 years at Jeff State? And I'm an open book. And so I was talking to the student, and, we're just having conversations. I'm like, where do you see yourself? Right. And she says, I really want to go to Mississippi State. When she said that, I was like, well, do you know what? I am a 2-time alum from Mississippi State. And that just really opened the door to so many things. I started telling the student, hey, they have fall and spring preview day. Oh, if great. There's ever a time that you can actually go, you can get connected, with the counselor that, can just make sure that, everything from Jeff State transfers. And, sometimes, students may think they want to go to a place, and I'm like, that's interesting. She's in Birmingham. You sure you want to go to Starkville, Mississippi? And she's like, no, I want to go to Mississippi State. I've done my research. We've toured the campus, and it's beautiful. And I kid you not, this past week, that student graduated from Mississippi State.
Oh, that's great.
And it's, when you think about time passing, it's like, man, she left Jeff State, she went there. And that just really showed me the power of telling your story, just because, who knows, maybe if I said, I did not have a great experience while I was a student there, that maybe would have changed that student's mindset. But I had really positive things to say, and I have tried to, maintain contact with the student. I do follow her on social media. So just being able to see her, have success as a student leader at Jeff State, but also go on to my alma mater, that has been really, really fulfilling. And so for me, I think that's a success for the student, but also a really personal success. Just, being willing to share your story and talk to students. I think a lot of times we think that a student is just a student and we're just a staff or a professional. But we were once students, and a lot of times our students need to see us outside of our roles. And just being willing just to kind of, take that cape off sometimes and just kind of meeting them where they are. So that's been really, really valuable.
That's awesome. Great story. So is there anything that you really want anyone to know about the Student Success Center?
Anything that I want really just, I know a lot of what we do can kind of be deemed confidential. Of course, students that are maybe reaching out for mental health or counseling services, a lot of that information, it is confidential. Sometimes students are a little private, when they have to say, hey, we're a little bit short on, money for bills, or, hey, I could benefit from, visiting the food pantry because money's tight for groceries. Just really just encouraging students to kind of take some of that pressure off. I especially when I think about the food pantry and just the times now, groceries are high.
Yes.
And so, they are very high. And so just kind of giving students an extra nudge. I think faculty have a really valuable insight into, what students are facing, sometimes more than any of us do. And so if you do have a student that confides something in you that may be a little bit more private, just kind of give them the extra nudge. There's a lot of faculty that have been really great. If they have a student that's a little reluctant to kind of reach out on their own, they'll physically walk the student over to our area to kind of help alleviate some of that stigma. So just really making sure that our students know this is what it's here for. I think, I know that when the Student Success Center, like when it came to, when there was this conversation about this space, it was because there was a need. And so, our students are very valuable, that they did have, campus leadership that, saw the need and actually did something about it. And because we exist to make the student, make their time at Jeff State as easy as possible.
Right. Absolutely. One thing that I love that y'all do is, yes, we have that center there, but I love that you get out and you try to meet the students, like in any events, like Welcome Back, and y'all have like
for sure.
little parties and things for that, that's what's great too.
And just for students to be able just to see us, and even now for the month of May, something that's been really valuable. I did not mention this in terms of services, but we also have a partnership with the Bundles of Hope nonprofit that provides like diapers and just different like hygiene items, because a number of our students, their parents, their mothers, and so we're hosting that drive now, just so that we can continuously collect diapers and things like that. We're able to stock hygiene items across campus, and so being able to kind of be visible and kind of get around does help students a lot. I know a lot of times they get emails, they get texts, or they may see the graphics, but sometimes it's really, really helpful just to kind of be able to connect, with the physical person. And so I try to be really instrumental in doing that.
That's great. And the center itself, there, it's open to all the students.
It's open to all students.
Yeah, even if you don't necessarily need that service, it's available for students to come and study. And
we have students that come study, they form study groups. Sometimes, like with the pantry being there, they'll come in, they'll store their food in the refrigerator, or they'll heat up their food. And so it is a really, really good student space, not just to come ask about the services, but just kind of a quiet place just to be able to study sometimes.
Yeah, and it's such a great place.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
So just want to highlight a few things. Is that this is for everybody at Jeff State. It's not just the Jefferson campus. It's for all campuses.
For all campuses. And we tell students, if, if you ever need, if it's food and you're at Pale City, we work very closely with our campus mail carrier. We'll say, hey, like we've got some food that needs to go out. We'll put the student's A number on a box. We talk with like campus security, campus police, and say, hey, this student's gonna pop by and pick this up. I'm at Shelby pretty regularly, and so if there's a student that needs a box while I'm here, I'll pack it up in my car. So it really is about meeting students wherever they are.
Right.
I've had students semester after semester say, hey, I can't get to Jefferson, but I'll be at Shelby on this date. Like, it's no problem. And that matters to a student.
It does.
It matters so much. Just to be able to kind of meet them and hear them. It really does matter.
Each individual student is tailored to.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so another big thing to highlight is, don't hesitate to reach out, right?
Don't hesitate to reach out. Life happens to all of us. You can wake up and the sun is shining and, there's no bad weather, and then boom, like you hit something on the interstate and now you got a flat tire, but it's like, oh, like I got to get there to take my nursing exam. And so, just all of those things, life does happen. And so being able to model that to students as faculty and staff, we're not exempt. And so when life does happen, don't feel completely bummed out. Maybe you did just spend your last on books. Well, hey, like, I know you may have a bill that's coming up. Let's walk over here to the Student Success Center to see if maybe there's something that they can do. If there's emergency grant support that can kind of help to alleviate some of that stress. Because our students, they're not just students. They're parents. They're guardians. They look after siblings. They work, multiple hours in a week. They're not just students. And so making sure that they know we see them, we hear them, and we're there for them.
And we're going to make it happen.
Oh, we're going to make it happen. We are going to make it happen. I am a person that prides myself on always remembering why. Always remembering why. Like, I carry that with me, and I have across different institutions, different roles that I've had. Just remember why. I think sometimes, like, we get in the routine of, okay, like, I got to get up and I got to go to work because, like, I got to take care of X, Y, and Z. But on a deeper note, like, I'm doing this because there's a need that needs to, but also I care. You know what I'm saying? Like, just really, at the core of it, it's just caring about people. It's caring about someone else outside of myself. And so on days that are busy, or, I've been sitting in 65 traffic, like, for way longer than what I would have wanted to, always remembering why. Like, you know what, there's a student somewhere, and I have, I've been blessed, I've been privileged to be able to be in this role, in this position. There's something that I can say, or there's something that I can do that plants that seed, or, that just kind of helps a student a little bit further along. And so for me, when I do see students, kind of go from triumph to victory, just remember your why. This is why we do what we do. And it hits on a real deep level.
Yeah, very personal. You, from the moment I met you, I would always say that, like, you have such a big heart. Like, you do. And
it's got to be at the core. And especially for, not just as a higher ed, but for the work that I do. Like, it starts, like at the heart. And like my mom has always said, like, what's from the heart will reach your heart. Like, if you don't have it in your heart, like, a student's not going to feel that. And that's a big part. It's like, students, we can say all day that we care about them, and we can market it, and we can put it up in lights. But if a student doesn't feel it and they don't know it, how likely are they to tell us their story, or to come in and just really be vulnerable. You really, really have to have it in your heart for it to make an impact. Yeah. And I lead with that.
That's awesome. Yeah. It's good for them to be able to see a face.
And, for sure.
And hopefully feel it, because I know you truly mean it.
I mean it. And, there's times that students come in and they're like, okay, I'm going to ask for help, or I'm going to come back. If I realize, time has passed, I haven't seen that student, or I haven't heard from them, I'll follow up, because I think that even goes a long way.
Yeah.
Okay, she not letting me off easy. Like, I said that I was going to come back, and she hasn't seen me. And just being able, because we see and we serve service a lot of students. So sometimes for students to know that they're not just a number, like, hey, like, you know, I hadn't seen you in here in a while. You know, is everything okay? You know, did you actually follow up on those things that we talked about? That counts for a lot also.
Oh, yeah. That means a lot.
Yep.
Well, that's great. Aaliyah, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We appreciate you so much and all the efforts that you give and help our students.
I appreciate it so much. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you for joining us on the Pioneer Voice.
Thanks.
And we'll see you later.
Alrighty.